Look at the leaves already on the bloody top of the car. Get off the car. You know what it is. It's the Cupra FORMENTOR. Yes, this is the Cupra FORMENTOR. And yes, I'm not in Spain testing it. Cupra have brought it here for me to have a look at. It is Cupra's first edition that they've developed from the ground up, is what they say. They develop it from everywhere. Now this is the top spec one, but you can actually get these for about 35 grand in a lower spec version of it and smaller engines and stuff. But this one is the proper FORMENTOR with the big engine. Anyway, we're going to have a full review of this car all around. So hit the subscribe button. It's number one job. Number two job, get yourself a drink, sit back, relax, watch the titles. Do it! We're going to have a look around the car on the outside. Here's the outside view of the car. Even looking at the outside, right? You can tell it's from the same company, Seat. You know, you can tell it's from Seat. Look at the leaves. Just stop with the leaf. Bloody oak trees. Anyway, or whatever they are. Beech trees. But there are some remarkable changes. So let's look at this. So we got this very complicated looking light. If you look around here, it's very lines and that lights up and does stuff as well when you open and close the car. It might not work during the daytime, but at night time it does all kind of, yeah, there you go. See the indicators involved in one of them, see it there? So that's the indicator, but it's also the DRLs and all sorts of stuff, okay? Down the front here we have a spot lamp here, and then lower down there's nothing at all. Then going across we have that bronze Cupra logo, which I quite like. Very gamer orientated logo, I have to say. Does look like games console stuff. Yes, it is a Spanish registered car, but kind of a busy front end, right? Sort of a busy looking end. There's lots of lines and cuts and this, you can see through this into the intercooler grill back there. You see the whole thing and the radiator in the back. Then you have these vents down the side here, which are not fake. They actually are going through and into the wheel arch. So around this way you can see them going into the wheel arch, which creates a bubble of air around the outside of the tyre. On this one we have made in Germany written across here. Amazing looking brake calipers, brake discs. Look at the size of them. Cross drilled brake discs. Brembo brakes on them as well, but cross drilled brake discs all through them. And then that bronze is reflected here in the alloy as well. It's in a matte grey, which I'm not keen on matte colours, but it actually suits this car. And I'm just not keen on the sort of matte colour to everything. And then we go down along the side, you can see it gets busy around the other side of it. Just come around, all around this way. You see what I'm talking about? So it gets busy, it's got busy lines. So you got 1 line, 2 line, 3 line, 4 line, and then you have the wheel arch line. This line tracks the whole length of the car, as you can see going down one side. There's a code there, it says Cupra is coming if you want to get that thing. And then the back end lifts up. So it starts to lift up around the back of it, okay? The back brake discs don't have Brembo and are not cross drilled. They're not needed to be, but it does look a bit weird because it's on the front. Then we come around the back, which does have the kind of look of the Leon around the back of it. Might not work here at night time either. See, there's the indicators. But this whole strip bar lights up at night time, which is quite nice. You think you're supposed to press this button here to open it, but it's not. It's only here. Electric opening, and then we're into the boot, which is plenty big for all of the work that you want to do. And you have plenty of storage everywhere underneath as well. And this, conveniently, is stuck down, which I quite like that. It's actually got a Velcro back to it. It's got shopping bag hooks. It's got the lot. I'm rather keen on the look of it. I really have to say, I think the look is very, very good. I really enjoy the look of the car. In all its respects, it really is mean and something totally different on the road. Right, let's have a look at the driver's seat and see what that looks like. Yes, this is the Spanish model, so yes, I'm on the wrong side of the car, or the right side of the car. Would we get cheaper tax and insurance if we just change the side of the road we drive on? I wonder if that is. Good, solid thunk. Listen to that again. What a thunk. That good? I like that, really good. This has a little light strip up along here that goes all the way across the top, and that is your, if someone's in your blind spot, that lights up yellow. I'll show you that in a minute. But you can see the Cupra logo's in here as well. I have the Cupra logo here to make the car go faster. It's like a go faster stripe. And start-stop engine. And the layout of the steering wheel is the same as the rest of the Seat range. Moving across here for a minute, I have two USB-C ports and a wireless charging cable port, or wireless charging port right here. Then I have this little knob thing for changing the gears. Park and brake, and there's kind of a space here for stuff. And then you have two cup holders here at the back, but they're kind of small. And then under this, I have a 12-volt socket in here. So plenty of storage, right? And even in the door pockets here, there's tons of storage. Electric tailgate as well. And then across here, massive glove box. Now, the reverse of this might be slightly different. So bear that in mind, that if you're buying this car in Ireland, the reverse will happen, okay? This has Beats audio stereo system as well in it, and a massive screen in the middle, which are going to light up right now. So foot on the brake, press the start-stop button. Car starts up. Then there's that light that comes on. Then that synthesizer sound comes on. So there is a certain amount of synthesizer sound here, because the sound outside is synthesized in here. And it is very good. The noise is very, very good. I really like it. But it is fake. So there is a fake noise going on there that's inside the cabin with me. If I go outside with this, so I'm going to use the audio on this camera now, change over to it. Outside. Then the noise inside. Anyway, we'll come more to the actuated sound noise after. It's okay. I think sound is 99% of enjoying a car, really, when you're driving hard. It's the noise, it's the screaming noise of a car that makes all the difference. So, I have an electronic dash here, which tells me all I need to know about the car, really. You can actually change the view of that to be other stuff as well. It might not work now because I'm parked. No, not working, but I'll change that when I'm driving along. This is the infotainment screen, and it's huge. It's so big. It's actually quite complicated as well, which I'm not keen on at the moment. I think it might be a little bit too much to take, but really, you're not going to use it very often. So I'm going to ignore this welcome screen for a second and just press the three slashes here in the corner, which brings up this thing, which allows me to be able to sweep left and right over parking, all that fuel economy thing, which you can see is 10.5 litres per 100 kilometres. I had a bit of fun yesterday. If you press those three stripes again, you now get this, which is the full system, allows you to be able to sweep in and out of things here as well. If we go back to this, you've got these little flags down the bottom, which allow you to be able to change in and out of various media settings, in and out of sat-nav settings. So you can see here the Royal Guard. Obviously, you know what the local Chinese is. It's good. And then you can have the full link. I have got Apple CarPlay's system hooked up on this. I'm not using it right now. I'm going to hook it up in a second and show you what that looks like when it's not on the Say It system. There's the actuator has changed the note again now as the car is warm at this stage. So that happens a lot, I have to say. Right, we're going to hook up by Apple CarPlay as well, so I can show you that. And hopefully it will actually hook up. Charging the mobile device, because I've dropped into the wireless charging tray. It can be a little bit finicky, I have to say, but there's Apple CarPlay has popped up on the screen for me now. So this is now we've taken over the whole screen with Apple CarPlay. So that does leave you the air conditioning here in the corner, but getting back to CarPlay is just touching that there. So moving between the two is nice. There's BBC Sound, so you can get into stations, all your radio stations from just BBC if you want to. I use that every once in a while. So I can flick in and out of this thing very easily and back into Apple CarPlay. I like the transition between the whole lot of them. You can see all the stuff there's Spotify up here, WhatsApp, TuneIn Radio, Google Maps, Telegram. They're all on your system, right? Everything is here. Even Zoom can be used on iOS. And you can also flick back to Cupra whenever you want to, right? If you're too warm, you have the physical controls here. So you can do that to turn the temperature down. See, that's turning the temperature down and up there in the corner. Okay, and you can do it on either side. You can sweep your hand across that if you want to, instead of touching it. I prefer to just have the clicky one touch thing. So you've actually still got physical controls on your air conditioning without getting rid of that stuff. That's really good. That's handy in its own way. So I have three interfaces essentially now. So I have a physical interface, and I also have Apple CarPlay, and I also have the Say It Leon or Say It Cupra infotainment system as well. It all seems to work together pretty harmoniously, I have to say. Underneath that, there's two vents here, which means when you're driving along, your hand is here. You've got to turn that vent away from your hand, otherwise your hand and knuckles get freezing cold. And if you press it down, it just freezes your thigh. If you press it up, it blows into your face. So this seems to be a design thing that's going on lately, moving the vent down away from the top of the dashboard so you can raise this. Nice idea, but in practice, this stuff is freezing people to death. Okay. So moving across here, physical ones, I have this button here, which is the Cupra button. That changes the system in front of me, but it's a very subtle change. You might be able to see it up there at the very top of the screen. You can see I go from road to S to Cupra to whatever that is to mountain, then back to road, right? So it actually changes the notes. So you can hear, if I change now to Cupra, see, it changes everything really quickly. I like it in here. It's quite nice. It's quite a nice place to be. Quite a nice place to sit. Insanely comfortable seats. When I say really comfortable, they've got a little Cupra logo on the top of them here. It's really scooped out feeling, but it actually is really supportive. These big bolsters on both sides give you great support. Really comfortable interior. Nice place to sit. Good view out the front. And as you can see the whole width of the bonnet out there. You can see the whole thing as you're driving along. This car is very broad and raw. We'll come to that in driving in a few minutes. Going to have a quick look at the back seat before we go any further. Come on. So yeah, back seat. It is pretty standard back here as back seats go, but it's actually tons of room. Look at all that space I have between me and the seat in front of me. It's huge. And tons of headroom. Loads of headroom as well. And in this model, I have the air conditioning controls back here for temperature, and I have 2 USB-C ports. And I have a handle for when things go wrong, I can poke the driver in the back of it. Driver, hello, drive faster. So I can do that, and I have a map holder thing back here, and there's a big transmission tunnel in the middle, so you're not going to be very comfortable if you're sitting in the centre. You could fit another person in here, but you would have to crush up a little bit on that side. I also have an armrest in the centre, and we have a loader straight through to the back. You can see right into the back there. Pretty handy, plenty of convenience there. And the drop on the seats is, of course, really straightforward. Flat floor as well. Good job, say it. Bit of practicality for something that is a bit mad. You know, you've got a Cupra feel to the whole thing, and yet there's practicality to go with it. Anyway, I think it's time we went for a drive, right? Now we go for a spin. I'm on the wrong side of the car, though, which is always weird and creepy. Love all the Cupra stuff that just fires up everything to do. It's really neat. Exit warning system is currently unavailable. I don't know what that means. You can see wireless Apple CarPlay is already hooking up, so it's working. It hasn't let me down so far in this car. I've seen Apple CarPlay give me trouble before. That's a nice noise. At that low speed rumble that it does is very nice. It is weird sitting on this side of the car. It's Sunday morning. I only have it for the weekend, really. It's going back on Monday. It's actually going back to Spain on Monday. That's where it's really going. Dribbling around the streets of Portlaoise, which are very, very quiet, I have to say. Seen that view before. Regular viewers will, of course, seen all these views before. This channel has managed to put Portlaoise on the map in a way that was unexpected. There's a Tita. What's wrong with you? You got no taste. Anyway, coming out onto the mean streets of Portlaoise on the wrong side of the car. I'm okay to rustler anyway. So that's in Cupra mode. Now I can flick that over anytime to other modes. So I have like off-road, road, just road one. So if you just want to trundle about, that's quiet mode. So you can hear how quiet the whole car now has become. It's very, very quiet. There's a good range of engines available in this car as well. So it's not, you don't have to go right to the very top of the spec and buy the big full bore Cupra mode. You can buy a sort of a standard 1.5 litre in there as well. You know, so there's nice cars. The car is from about 35 grand. This one isn't that. Don't actually have a full price on this one just yet, but it's starting at 35. And this is a Cupra brand car, so they say developed by them. Now, when you accelerate in normal mode, you don't get as much of the kind of rumbly stuff going on the whole time. When you flick back out of that into sport mode, this is sports, you get a bit of rumble. When you go into Cupra mode, the rumble's on all the time. It's much louder. That's very nice, actually, in fairness to it. I've put it into Cupra mode and essentially just left it there. Fuel economy, if you have to ask, lads, it's just not worth talking about. You're buying a performance car, you might as well buy something that's got a bit of performance to go with it and a bit of a trip to the petrol station. Because, you know, you have to get the old petrol in it. The kickdown is very good there, Cupra, by the way. It kicks down at just the right point. Now, if you want to have the noise without having to drive the engine so hard. So the gear shift's going all the way up. Pull the gear stick back one and you change into D instead of S. And that settles down the gear shift but leaves the noise alone. So I still have noise, all the noise, but I don't have any of the sort of mad gear changes that it does in Cupra mode. I'm heading out this way to go onto the motorway so I can show you what it's like performance-wise. Those brakes are stupendous. Even from cold, they're not too grabby. And when they're warm, they're definitely not grabby at all. They just work. They're very, very good. If you flick the gear shift back one, it goes into S4. Back one again, it goes into D. So you get the noise, but you don't have the ferocious gear change on you the whole time. Till you want it, of course. Now I'm in Cupra mode. It's really comfortable. Can I just point out that this is a really comfortable car? For a Cupra, for what should be a mad mass performance car, it's actually really comfortable, and that's kind of weird. I expected it to be much firmer. It even says things like foot off the accelerator because I'm coming up to a roundabout. How about no? How about I do that part? We go into S mode now because we're heading out into the motorway. So you can see here that if I drop down the speed, of course, coming down onto the straight, give that Yaris time to get away from me. You can see now that while I'm sitting down here, I'm moving onto the motorway so I can just floor it. Oh. There's 120 and I'm just like 200 meters. And it spits and makes noises. Now I have to say, it's not as noisy as I want it to be. The engine note, I would rather it made more spits and bangs and wallops out the back of it. I really enjoyed that in the Cupra Ateca. Do you remember the Cupra Ateca we had on the channel? The noise of that thing was just buzzy noise all the time. You will have also noticed another thing. My voice has raised considerably at motorway speed. So even in road mode, where it should be quietest, I'm going to set the cruise control to 120. And engage, and it's still loud in here. Like that's a fair bit of tire roar. But then you're buying a performance car, so the trade-off is you're going to drive it every day to work down the motorway, or you're just going to use it to trundle about at night time and annoy your neighbours in the morning and that sort of stuff. You know, that's what the key of this is. One thing I will say it's awful easy to speed in this car if you don't use the cruise control. Time, it seems to warp time into a different place. It is very broad as well. This car is really wide on the front. Nothing wrong with that, but it just feels massive on the road. I'm just going to turn on the air conditioning because it's roasting, and I just feel like I'm dripping into the middle lane the whole time because I'm on the wrong side of the car. So if you're looking for a big 5-door SUV that's fun, yep, it's got all them things for sure. I really do like it. I think it's really good. It's not often I come across a car that I really am taken with in a good way, you know. And Cupra seem to be doing it right now. The Cupra Ateca and this seems to have done it really nice. The Formentor is another string to the bow, and I think Cupra's going in the right direction now. And the rebranding is quite nice. I do like that brand. I do like the bronze thing. No way back now, of course. They can't suddenly go back the way they were. Remains to be seen what they're going to do with the Cupra brand into the future, but if this is a guideline of where they're going with it, I like it. Some refinements need to be done, but like tire roar, general road noise is a little bit on the high side, but the rest is okay. And I'd like the car to make more noise itself, the actual engine note, like in that Cupra mode, which we've just gone back into now as I'm coming off the motorway. I wanted to make a little bit more noise, lads. Like, it should be spitting and banging at me now. It's in Cupra mode. It should be unhinged at this stage. Like, it should be mad. And it does spit, but doesn't spit enough. It's just not enough. I'm not hearing it enough, you know? It's not there enough. I want it to be a little madder than you actually have it set. Power-wise, there's plenty there. There's enough there to suit anybody, really. Fuel economy is okay. You know, it's not going to be brilliant on one of these. It actually has the listing here for fuel economy, and since refuel, it's done 10.7 litres per 100 kilometres. I can do about 550 kilometres or so on a tank of fuel, which is enough. I've used a quart of a tank in 24 hours. I'll tell you how much I've been driving it. It's a lovely thing to behold. Right, hopefully you've learned enough about the Cupra and what they're doing right now. I'm glad you could join me on this one. It's really good to have you along. I am available on TikTok. Just quite a big following now on TikTok. You can find me there mostly. I usually answer questions all the day. Of course, you can find us here on the Sunday service as well. Every Sunday on this very channel, which is a live stream. Makes a good noise. Really does make a good noise, I have to say. But you can find us in all those places. It'd be good to have you along. So hit the subscribe button here. Go over to TikTok, have a little subscribe there as well. Little car communities on both sides. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, pretty much everywhere really. You'll find me one way or the other sooner or later. Thank you very much for joining me for this review. And until the next time, I will see you on the far side. I love that purr it makes. It's so good. That is so good.